Good morning or good afternoon, whenever you are listening to chapter 4 or you're about to read it on your own. Please make sure that you look over the chapter 1 through 3 questions that I have posted. Please do that first so that you're able to, just kind of check in with yourself. Did you understand the first 3 chapters? Do you need to go back? Do you need to email me? So just to kind of check in with yourself with the information so far, okay? All right, so here we go. Chapter 4, American Laugh-Nosed Beat, Sunday, January 6th, 1935. The next morning when I get up, I'm happy to find my father at the table reading the paper. I can feel how pleased he is to see me. This isn't something you can fake. Hey, he says. My mother is checking my sister's suitcase. I can't believe she's going today. I thought it was a week away, at least. Nat has the kitchen chair pulled into the living room, wedged between 3 crates. Hey, Natalie, the sun get up okay this morning? I ask like I do every morning. She never answers, which used to really bug me. I hate being the brother of a stone. One day last year, I got so mad, I just walked right by her, didn't say anything, not one word. That day, after I left for school, my mom said Natalie sat outside my room and cried for 2 straight hours. Natalie isn't a crier, she's a screamer. You never see her cry for plain old hurt. I'd say my mom made it all up, but she didn't know I'd snubbed Natalie. My mom had no idea why Natalie had cried. Now I ask Natalie about the sun every morning, and it only bothers me a little when she doesn't answer. So, what would you like for breakfast on this very special day? My mother asks her. Lemon cake, Natalie says. She says this every day, too. And every day my mom says, Silly sweet pea, you can't have lemon cake for breakfast. Why not? On a special day like today, lemon cake sounds like a fine idea. What do you think, Moose? My mom asks. Sure, I say. My voice comes out high like a girl's. I never know whether I'm going to sound like Mickey Mouse or the giant on top of the beanstalk. Natalie turns all the way around and looks me straight in the eye in that weird way she has of suddenly being present after weeks of being somewhere else. So again, the author is giving us more evidence about Natalie, just about how unique she is. So that's like a really interesting way that they say that. Natalie turns all the way around and looks me straight in the eye in that weird way she has of suddenly being present after weeks of being somewhere else. Don't look at me. This wasn't my idea. If it were up to me, we'd be in Santa Monica right this very minute, I say under my breath. My father reads Natalie headlines from the newspaper, adding numbers to every one. Work resumes on the Golden Gate Bridge. 103 men are put back to work. 2 quit. 7 scratch their heads. 5 have their feet up. 2 eat sausages for supper. 3 do not. Breakfast, my mother calls. Natalie holds her face 2 inches from the plate. She eats so fast it gives me a stomach ache. When my dad's not around, I don't eat with her. Natalie Flanagan's whole family, Nat says when I sit down. I wonder if she knows what's happening. We've built the Esther P. Marinoff up like it's quite the place, like maybe the King and Queen of England are sending their kids there too. But somehow in all this talking, we ignored the major thing. You don't come home from the Esther P. Marinoff. Every morning when the sun comes up, that's where Natalie will be. My father wipes his wide mouth with his napkin. What fun you're going to have, Natalie, with kids your own age. What age is that, I wonder? But I know what he means. Maybe she'll meet other kids like her. Maybe they'll recognize each other and communicate in their own peculiar way. When my mom has Nat ready to go, my father picks up her suitcase, hands Natalie her button box, and opens the door. Moose, my mom says, as if she's just now noticed I'm here. I don't think you need to come along. Fine with me. I don't want to go anyway. I don't look at her or my dad or Natalie. Helen! My father's voice has a sting to it. I just didn't think he'd want to, Cam, my mother says. Of course Moose is coming. He hands Nat's suitcase to me and pats me on the back. We can't do this without him. This reminds me of the time, so here's a flashback right here. This reminds me of the time when I was 6 and my mom shipped me off to live at Graham's. She packed every pair of underwear I owned, and she made it all seem like a big treat. When we got there, my Gram had an awful scowl on her face. She gave me a big hug and glared at my mother like I'd never seen her do. When my mom left, I heard Graham and Ed talking. Some cockamamie psychiatrist decides the problem is Natalie doesn't get enough attention, and Helen ships him off. Our Matthew. I'm happy as a pig in mud to have him here, but it's a darn fool thing. So Matthew is Moose, right? What child doesn't have a brother or sister? Half the world has 7 or 8. Having a brother didn't make Natalie the way she is. One look at the two of them together, and that big shot psychiatrist would have known that. He's the one ought to have his head examined. It's going to make Nat sicker just having Moose gone. Early the next morning, my father woke me. "Get your pillow, Moose," he said, snapping the buckles on my suitcase. "We're going home." We're walking down to the dock now. Natalie is going extra slow. I worry we'll miss the boat, but maybe that's her plan. I like to think all these years have been a part of her plan too. And one day, Nat will tell me it's all a crazy game she made up to see if we really loved her. My father jogs ahead. Yesterday, the boatman told us, "We don't wait for nobody. Even God himself has to get down here on time." But somehow the big ex-Army steamship called the Frank M. Cox is still there. My mother walks through the snitch box, a metal detector designed to make sure no one is bringing guns on the island. "This new school is a good opportunity for you, Natalie," my mother tells her as I watch the boat guy unwind a rope as thick as my arm from the cleat. "You are such a lucky girl to have this chance." Natalie says nothing. Her eyes are trained on a gull wiggling a potato chip out from the wood slab bench. I look up at another bird high in the blue sky, and another skimming low over the green-blue sea. My father has a book with him, McGregor's Illustrated Animal Book. He's brought it because it has a good index. Nothing pleases Natalie more than having him read the index of a book to her. American Leaf-Nosed Bat, page 48, my father reads. American Quail, page 232. American Spiny Rat, page 188. Tons of gulls are flying above our boat. We watch them, Natalie and I. Natalie is rocking more than usual, but it doesn't look out of place here. The boat rocks anyway. "I count 229 birds," I say, pointing at the gulls. "Bad Moose," Natalie says. "9 birds. 9. I smile at her. "I count 47 people on the deck. Bad Moose, 11 peoples. 11. Natalie loves catching my mistakes. Once, when I was 7 or 8, she started bringing books to me, big old ones, like the dictionary and the encyclopedia. She'd turn to the back and plunk the book on my lap. I couldn't figure out what she wanted. One day, just to get her to go away, I started reading the page she had opened. It was a history book, and the index was full of names of people and places. I got to this one, Machu Picchu, and I said something like, "Mac, who, pick, you." "Bad Moose," she said, "Machu Picchu." I thought she was nuts until my mom informed me that is how it is pronounced. My mother went straight to the library and checked out a big stack of history books for Natalie. But it didn't take long to realize it wasn't history Natalie was interested in. It's indexes she loves. Any subject will do. We still don't have any idea how she learned the correct pronunciation of Machu Picchu, though. We're coming into the dock in San Francisco now. 12 minutes to get to Alcatraz, 20 years to get back, my dad says, the cons say. We sit a minute watching a church-going family walk down the gangplank. The toddler goes backward, hanging on the handrail and cautiously moving his squat legs down plank by plank. Everyone smiles at how careful he is. Going to be an insurance man when he grows up. His dad winks at my mom. "All right, troops, move him out," my father says, but my mom seems stuck in her seat. She's staring at the toddler who is walking across the dock, holding tight to his mom's hand. My mom blows her nose with her handkerchief. She's blinking fast, trying to keep back her tears. So this is like an emotional time for the family because they are sending Natalie to this school. So that's probably why the mom is upset here. When Natalie sees this, she curls up in a tight little ball on the wood slat seat and will not move. My mother pulls herself together and tries to sound cheerful again. "Natalie, honey, I have a little cold, that's all, sweet pea. Now, come on, sweetheart, this is a wonderful day." Her voice sounds fake and Natalie knows it. She pulls her knees tighter into herself. My father whispers that he hopes he won't have to carry her. He squats down on one knee and talks to Nat for a long time. The boatman nods to my mother and taps his wrist to signal time to get off. My mother fusses with her gloves, pulls her hat brim low, and walks across the deck to talk to him. I shift my weight from one leg to the other and back. Finally, my father's head pops up. He looks at me. Excuse me. "Moose, can you get her up?" he asks. Everyone who is getting off needs to get off. The boatman booms as people begin boarding for the trip back to Alcatraz. I look around, searching for an idea. I grab the book and flip to the back, and this is the name of the chapter. "American Laugh-Nosed Beat, page 3000, I say. Natalie is still curled up tight, but her head cocks a fraction of an inch. "Australian Quill, page 200, I say. Now she makes a noise deep in her throat, and bolts up. No, Moose. American leaf-nosed bat, page 48. American quail, page 232, she says. I take a step toward the gangplank. American spiny rot, page 18, I say. Bad, Moose, bad, bad, bad. American spiny rat, page 188. She shakes her head, but she is standing now, following me. Step by step, page by page, I get her off the boat. Now my dad has the brown suitcase. My mom is smiling, and Natalie is next to me. She finds my hand. She grips my fingers together so hard it hurts. Natalie has held my hand maybe once before in my whole life. Why does she pick now for this? This is the right thing to do, I tell myself, but I don't believe it. This is another one of my mother's crazy ideas. I feel sick to my stomach. I want to pull my hand away, but I don't. I keep walking. Good Moose. Obedient Moose. I always do what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so now you can continue reading chapters 5 and 6 for today. Thank you.